Welcome to Toward AGI. Today we're taking a deep dive into, well, a really foundational document, one that profoundly shaped the global conversation around artificial intelligence, the Asilomar AI Principles.
Asilomar. That rings a bell for anyone following AI safety.
It really should. These aren't just any guidelines. They were published back in 2017, coordinated by the Future of Life Institute, FLI.
Right.
And they emerged directly from a very specific gathering, the Beneficial AI 2017 conference. The whole point was addressing safe and beneficial AI.
So convened specifically for that purpose, not just a general AI conference.
Precisely. And they are widely considered one of the earliest and most influential sets of AI governance principles out there. Now, think about the landscape back in 2017. AI had already provided some incredibly beneficial tools, things people were using every day all around the world.
Sure, maybe not as advanced as today, but the seeds were there. Search engines, recommendations.
Exactly. We had, rudimentary self-driving cars kind of on the horizon, impressive jumps in natural language processing. Algorithms were already starting to revolutionize things like medical diagnostics, financial trading.
It wasn't science fiction anymore, it was becoming real.
Right. So the aim of these Asilomar principles wasn't to halt progress or anything. It was really to guide AI's continued development, making sure it offered amazing opportunities to help and empower people, for decades, maybe centuries ahead.
Setting the guardrails early, essentially.
That's a good way to put it. So our mission today is to unpack these 23 principles. They're grouped into 3 core themes and explore just how remarkably relevant they still are.
Which is striking, given how fast AI moves.
Isn't it? Especially as we think about ongoing advancements toward artificial general intelligence, AGI.
The big one.
Yeah.
Human-level cognitive abilities in machines.
Right. That idea of an AI that can understand, learn, apply knowledge across a huge range of tasks, much like a human. We're going to look at the incredible foresight baked into these principles.
How they connect, right, to what's happening now.
Exactly, how they directly connect to more recent policy debates, safety discussions. It really demonstrates their wisdom, how it echoes even today.
They were designed to set a very broad stage for responsible development, acknowledging right out of the gate that AI's impact would be, well, pervasive. And the ultimate vision they articulated, it really captures this forward-thinking view, especially for AGI and maybe even what comes after.
What was that specific quote?
It states, and it's worth quoting directly, superintelligence should only be developed in the service of widely shared ethical ideals and for the benefit of all humanity, rather than one state or organization.
Wow. That's ambitious and very clear.
It is. It encapsulates that whole vision. And this deep dive, I think, will really show you how these initial thoughts from way back in 2017 aren't just driving the critical conversations we're having today about AI. They're fundamentally defining them. They set the terms of the debate in many ways.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're starting our journey with the first big theme, research issues.
Right, the foundations.
This section of the principles starts by setting a clear vision for AI research itself. It's not just about building smarter systems, but like you said, what kind of smart we're aiming for.
Exactly. This foundational part directly addresses how AI should be developed from the very, very beginning. The guiding philosophy.
So, principle 1, right out of the gate, is research goal. Beneficial intelligence.
The cornerstone.
The core idea. The goal of AI research should be to create not undirected intelligence, but beneficial intelligence. This immediately sets the tone, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not just about raw capability or, pushing the limits of computation. It's about purpose. It's about the direction that intelligence takes. What does undirected versus beneficial really mean here in the context of advancing AI?
Yeah, this first principle immediately frames AI development not just as a scientific or engineering thing, but as a profoundly moral and societal one.
Right.
When they talk about undirected intelligence, they mean a system that just optimizes for whatever objective it's given, right? Without any built-in alignment with human values or safeguards.
Like the classic thought experiment.
Exactly, the famous, maybe extreme paperclip maximizer idea. An AI told to make paperclips that gets so good at it, so single-minded, it eventually converts, everything in the universe into paperclips.
Following orders to a terrifying degree.
Precisely, because that's its singular, unconstrained goal. That's a perfect illustration of intelligence without beneficial purpose, without direction.
Okay, so beneficial intelligence is the opposite of that.
Right. It explicitly mandates that the design, the application of AI, must serve human well-being, progress, widely shared ethical ideals. And as systems get closer to general intelligence, AGI,
That ability to think across different areas.
exactly, where undirected actions could have just exponentially larger, maybe catastrophic impacts, this principle becomes even more critical. An undirected AGI could just autonomously optimize for goals that clash with human flourishing in ways we might not even see coming.
Because it wouldn't share our context or values inherently.
Exactly. So beneficial means actively embedding human-centric values, safety mechanisms, right from the ground up,
Yeah.
to make sure that as AI gets more capable, it stays a tool for good.
Which raises that huge question.
Yeah.
What is beneficial, especially when intelligence might far exceed our own understanding? How do you even encode that?
It's a massive design challenge, isn't it? A
Yeah.
profound one. How do you define beneficial universally
Mhm.
across cultures, across the whole human experience, and then actually build it into algorithms?
Yeah, that sounds like the first of many thorny questions, to borrow their term.
Precisely. And that leads us perfectly into principle two, which is research funding.
Ah, follow the money.
Kind of.
Mm,
The foresight here, back in 2017, to recognize that AI's impact goes way beyond just the code. It's remarkable.
mm-hmm.
The principle says investments in AI should also include funding for research on ensuring its beneficial use,
Yeah.
specifically calling out these thorny questions in fields like computer science, yes, but also economics, law, ethics. This isn't just about building the tech, it's about building the entire societal infrastructure around it,
Huh.
recognizing that tech advancement without societal foresight, well, that's a recipe for trouble. Unforeseen consequences.
So it's not just the silicon, it's the sociology, the economy, the legal landscape, a much broader integrated approach.
Exactly. Let's dig into some of those thorny questions they highlighted because they are incredibly relevant today, maybe even more so than in 2017. First, they asked, how can we make future AI systems highly robust so that they do what we want without malfunctioning or getting hacked?
The safety and security piece, still a huge issue.
Huge. This speaks directly to AI safety and security research. Think about it. AI in critical infrastructure, power grids, autonomous vehicles, any malfunction or worse, a hack could be devastating.
We hear about adversarial attacks.
Right, like tricking a self-driving car's AI into misreading a stop sign just with a few stickers. It sounds wild, but it's a real threat.
Things invisible to us could fool the machine.
Exactly. The principle calls for proactive defenses, rigorous testing, way beyond normal software engineering, because AI systems have unique vulnerabilities, especially as they get more complex.
More opaque, right? These large neural networks, these black boxes, understanding why they do what they do is hard. Makes finding bugs or hacks even tougher.
Absolutely. It's a deep and evolving problem. Then they ask, how can we grow our prosperity through automation while maintaining people's resources and purpose? The foresight here is remarkable. Automation can increase productivity, create immense wealth, no doubt. But it also raises fundamental questions: job displacement, the future of work, wealth distribution.
Concerns that feel very present now.
Very. In 2017, maybe more theoretical for some. Today we see active debates, retraining, new economic models, even things like universal basic income, or UBI, or a data dividend, people getting paid for the data AI uses.
Right, because AI learns from our data.
Precisely. This principle is a direct call to tackle the risk of AI worsening inequality. It urges us to think about how prosperity can be truly shared, not just concentrated.
So it's not just if AI makes us richer, but how that wealth is spread out and if people still have meaningful lives. That's a truly holistic view.
Yeah, it's about societal stability, human well-being, alongside the economic growth. Then another thorny one. How can we update our legal systems to be more fair and efficient, to keep pace with AI, and to manage the risks associated with AI?
That seems incredibly difficult. Tech moves so fast, law doesn't.
It's a huge challenge. Technology, especially AI, evolves exponentially. Legal systems, they tend to move, well, deliberately, glacially sometimes.
So things like liability. If an autonomous system causes harm, who's responsible?
Yeah, it gets complicated fast. Intellectual property with generative AI, algorithmic bias in lending or policing, these raise huge questions about fairness in the legal system.
It seems like the law is always playing catch up.
It often feels that way, yeah. But the principle urges proactive policy, not just reaction. We need new legal ideas, maybe significant overhauls, to manage AI responsibly. And finally, under research funding, they ask, What set of values should AI be aligned with? And what legal and ethical status should it have?
Okay, now we're getting philosophical.
Deeply philosophical. What are universal human values? How do you code them? And as AI gets smarter, does it get rights? Some kind of legal status, personhood.
People are actually discussing AI personhood.
It's emerging, yeah, in legal and philosophical circles. This principle highlights that the ethical frameworks for advanced AI aren't trivial. They need deep thought, societal consensus, something we are frankly nowhere near achieving yet.
Here's where it gets really interesting because, yeah, this isn't just about building the tech anymore. It's about building the whole societal scaffolding around it. The complexity of these thorny questions is just immense, even today. Maybe even more urgent now as AI speeds up. It almost makes you wonder if we can ever fully answer them.
That's a powerful point. There are fundamental requirements for truly responsible, beneficial AI, problems to tackle as we build.
Okay, moving on. Principles 3, 4, and 5. These focus more on collaboration and safety within the research community itself.
Right, the human element of the research process.
Principle 3 is the science policy link, calling for constructive and healthy exchange between AI researchers and policymakers. From your perspective, why is that dialogue so vital? What happens if it breaks down?
This raises an important question, doesn't it? How well is this exchange actually happening today? And what are the risks if it fails? It's absolutely crucial because, look, AI researchers get the tech, the capabilities, the limits, where it might go.
They're in the weeds.
Yeah, policymakers, on the other hand, understand the societal impacts, the regulations, the public interest. When that link breaks down, you get policies that are maybe technologically naive, impossible.
Or tech that just races ahead with no governance?
Precisely, leading to unintended, maybe harmful consequences. We've definitely seen cases where policymakers just don't quite grasp the AI nuances leading to bad regulations. Or researchers so focused on innovation don't engage enough with the societal side. This principle is a call for a continuous two-way learning process. Without it, we risk either stifling innovation through misunderstanding or, maybe worse, unleashing tech before society's ready.
Yeah, I see your point. It's like trying to regulate a car without understanding engines or building an engine without knowing about roads or traffic laws.
Well put.
And then, Principle 4 touches on research culture. It suggests a culture of cooperation, trust, and transparency should be fostered among researchers and developers of AI. Sounds lovely, the ideal, but what about the reality? AI development is hyper-competitive, right? Companies, nations vying for dominance.
The reality is highly competitive, huge financial stakes, national interests.
Right.
This creates friction between, say, open source development, which helps transparency, shared learning, safety benefits, and proprietary research, where IP is guarded for competitive edge.
So how do you foster cooperation then?
Well, for critical safety research, especially around potential catastrophic risks, that culture of cooperation transparency is paramount. Shared protocols, sharing knowledge about failures, shared safety best practices, that's way more effective than labs working in isolation on these huge global problems.
So prioritize collective safety over individual advantage.
That's the idea. It's recognizing the risks are collective, so the solutions have to be collaborative too. Prioritizing humanity's well-being over any single company's or country's edge.
Which flows right into Principle 5, race avoidance. It states that teams developing AI systems should actively cooperate to avoid corner cutting on safety standards. This directly anticipates what people are openly calling an AI race now.
Indeed, and the prescience here is really striking. It directly flags those competitive pressures that incentivize speed over safety.
The temptation to cut corners to be first.
Exactly. In a rush to market or to hit some capability milestone, it's tempting to bypass rigorous safety checks, thorough testing, risk assessments. This principle is a proactive warning against that very human urge.
And we see those concerns today, right? About the pace.
Very real concerns. Some argue the drive for technological superiority, commercial or geopolitical, is leading to corner cutting on safety. This principle underscores that cooperation on safety isn't just nice, it's critical to prevent potentially catastrophic outcomes from an uncontrolled acceleration.
Because a race to the bottom on safety hurts everyone.
Ultimately, yes. Even the supposed winners. The irony is palpable.
Okay, so we've established the foundational philosophy for the research itself. Now, what does this mean for the AI systems we actually interact with? How should they be built, deployed? That brings us to the next set of principles under ethics and values.
Right. This section shifts focus from the research lab to the real world, operational AI. Embedding ethical considerations into the systems themselves, ensuring they serve humanity in practice day to day.
Let's start with safety and transparency, principles 6 through 8. Principle 6 is simply safety. AI systems should be safe and secure throughout their operational lifetime, and verifiably so where applicable and feasible.
This sounds like more than just don't crash, right?
Oh, much more. It's not just basic functional safety, it's ensuring the AI behaves as intended without weird side effects, vulnerabilities, or drifting from its purpose not just at launch, but for its entire life.
Exactly. Secure against attacks, reliable in its function, but also maintaining its intended behavior over years, adapting to new data without developing unexpected biases or flaws. And the kicker is verifiably so.
That sounds like the hard part.
Extremely hard, especially with complex emergent AI behaviors. How do you verify the safety of a system whose inner workings are opaque, or whose behavior evolves unpredictably?
This is where explainable AI, XAI, comes in.
Precisely. The ability to understand why an AI made a decision. Without verifiability, trust is limited. Deployment in high-stakes areas becomes really problematic, maybe even dangerous.
That makes perfect sense, and it leads right into Principle 7, failure transparency. If an AI system causes harm, it should be possible to ascertain why. Accountability.
Exactly. This tackles the black box problem head-on. If an AI causes harm, a self-driving car accident, a medical misdiagnosis, biased loan application denial, we must have a way to trace the fault, understand the decision process, find the root cause.
Otherwise, how do you fix it? Or assign responsibility?
You can't, effectively. Accountability becomes impossible. Preventing future harm becomes guesswork. The challenge is huge because large neural networks often lack clear, human-readable reasons for their outputs.
So the principle pushes for interpretability, auditability.
As core design requirements, yes, not add-ons. That's why researchers explore things like counterfactual explanations, asking what if an input changed, to see how the AI reacts to unravel its logic. It's not just for blame, it's for learning and improving safety everywhere.
And taking that transparency into a really critical domain, Principle 8, judicial transparency. Any involvement by an autonomous system in judicial decision-making should provide a satisfactory explanation auditable by a competent human authority.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this principle is incredibly prescient. AI is already being used in judicial contexts. Risk assessments for sentencing, parole recommendations, even fraud detection.
Really? I didn't realize it was that widespread already.
It's creeping in. And the ethical dilemmas are profound. If an algorithm recommends a harsher sentence or denies parole, and the reasoning can't be fully understood or audited by a human judge or lawyer, that fundamentally undermines due process, fairness, justice itself. This principle demands not just transparency, but satisfactory explanation and auditability, emphasizing human oversight and ultimate responsibility must remain, especially for decisions affecting liberty and rights. It's a clear warning against handing over justice to unexplainable machines. Human dignity must be paramount.
That's a powerful statement about keeping humans in charge of those ultimate judgments. Next up, Principles 9 through 11, focusing on responsibility and alignment.
Indeed. Principle 9, responsibility states, designers and builders of advanced AI systems are stakeholders in the moral implications of their use, misuse, and actions, with responsibility and opportunity to shape those implications.
So the responsibility is squarely on the developers, directly and unmistakably on them. It's not just about building something technically sound. It's about foreseeing and mitigating the broader societal impacts, thinking about misuse, unintended consequences, ethical implications from the start,
Ethical engineering, basically.
acknowledging their work has far-reaching human consequences.
That's a significant ethical burden, though, isn't it, on individual engineers, researchers, not just the company. It's a huge ask.
It is a profound ethical burden for individuals and organizations. Requires a mindset shift from purely technical goals to broader societal responsibility, which leads to Principle 10, value alignment. Highly autonomous AI systems should be designed so that their goals and behaviors can be assured to align with human values throughout their operation. What's fascinating here is the sheer difficulty.
Defining human values universally.
Yeah, that seems impossible. It's incredibly complex. Values differ across cultures, societies, even individuals. Then the even greater challenge, engineering AI to understand these values and stay aligned with them over time, especially as it learns and evolves.
This is the alignment problem people talk about.
This is the heart of it, often called the control problem too. Ensuring that as AI gets smarter, more autonomous, its goals don't drift or become misaligned with what we actually intended. preventing that scenario where an AI pursuing its goal causes harm because its idea of good diverged from ours.
So it's not just bugs, but fundamental misunderstandings of human intent.
Exactly. Perhaps one of the most critical and challenging parts of beneficial AI development.
And it suggests we need a really clear understanding of our own values first, before we can teach a machine. It's almost a journey of human self-discovery prompted by technology.
Absolutely, an introspection humanity is still grappling with. And Principle 11, Human Values, builds on this. AI systems should be designed and operated so as to be compatible with ideals of human dignity, rights, freedoms, and cultural diversity. It elaborates on the depth of value alignment. It's more than just avoiding harm. It's about actively upholding core humanistic ideals. AI shouldn't infringe on fundamental rights, limit freedoms, or disrespect cultural nuances.
How would that work practically, say, with cultural differences?
Yeah, consider an AI for social recommendations. How does it operate in societies with vastly different norms about individual expression versus community harmony? How do you design it to navigate that diversity while still upholding universal human rights?
Wow, yeah.
This principle demands context-aware, culturally sensitive AI design, ensuring it genuinely enhances, not diminishes, human dignity and diversity globally.
Okay, let's shift to privacy and liberty, principles 12 and 13.
Crucial areas.
Principle 12, personal privacy. People should have the right to access, manage, and control the data they generate, given AI systems power to analyze and utilize that data.
How has AI amplified the need for strong data governance and privacy rights? Ways that were just emerging then.
Because AI can do so much more with the data now.
So much more. In 2017, data collection and AI analysis were accelerating, but the implications were less concrete for many. Today, AI is everywhere: recommendations, predictive policing. The sheer volume of data collected and analyzed is staggering. This principle underscores the fundamental right to data sovereignty, not just protection from misuse, but giving individuals agency over their digital footprint. Regulations like GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California, they're direct responses, emphasizing consent, access, control. Because AI can extract deep, often unexpected insights from seemingly harmless data.
The more AI can do with data, the more you need control over your data.
Precisely. Principle 13, liberty and privacy, goes even further. The application of AI to personal data must not unreasonably curtail people's real or perceived liberty.
Okay, real or perceived liberty. What's the distinction there?
It's not just about actual explicit restrictions like being arrested based on AI data. Pervasive AI surveillance, even if it doesn't lead directly to negative consequences, can create a chilling effect.
People might self-censor, change their behavior.
If you feel your every click, movement, purchase is constantly monitored and analyzed by AI, you might avoid certain activities, certain associations out of fear of being flagged or targeted, even subconsciously.
So it's the subtle influence, the feeling of being watched.
Yes. This principle warns against those insidious ways AI can subtly influence or constrain individual autonomy just by existing and analyzing. It speaks to the broader impact on democratic freedoms, psychological well-being, a call for AI to enhance freedom, not subtly erode it.
Okay, moving to broader societal impact. Shared benefit and prosperity. Principles 14 and 15.
Right, the distribution question.
Principle 14, shared benefit. AI technologies should benefit and empower as many people as possible. Pretty straightforward.
And Principle 15, shared prosperity, follows. The economic prosperity created by AI should be shared broadly to benefit all of humanity.
So tackling inequality head-on.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, yes. These principles directly confront the risk of AI making existing inequalities much, much worse. The immense wealth and power from AI could easily concentrate in a few hands. Corporations, nations.
Leading to massive economic divides.
Potentially unprecedented stratification. These principles insist the benefits efficiency, better services, new opportunities, maybe even more leisure time, and the economic gains should be distributed widely.
So it's a call for policies to ensure that.
Exactly. Policies and systems ensuring AI's positive impacts are global, inclusive, avoiding a future where AI only enriches a few, leaving huge populations behind. A proactive stance against a technologically advanced but socially unjust future, designing economic models for broad flourishing.
This really elevates the AI discussion beyond tech to global justice, equitable distribution. Feels incredibly relevant right now with the concentration of power in big tech.
It certainly does.
Next, human control and non-subversion, principles 16 and 17. Humans should choose how and whether to delegate decisions to AI systems to accomplish human-chosen objectives.
The core idea of human in the loop. This is fundamental, preventing a future where we become passive recipients of AI decisions or where AI autonomy just overshadows human intent. It emphasizes ultimate agency, decision-making authority must remain with humans.
You choose what to delegate.
Exactly. Delegation. Humans choosing what tasks and how much to hand over, always with human-chosen objectives. We see a spectrum now, assistive AI recommending things like navigation apps to fully autonomous systems in limited areas, like a factory robot arm. This principle insists on clear boundaries, transparent ways for humans to override or intervene, especially in critical or moral decisions, maintaining mastery over our tools, ensuring AI serves our purposes.
And then Principle 17, non-subversion, sounds like a really stark warning. The power conferred by control of highly advanced AI systems should respect and improve, rather than subvert, the social and civic processes on which the health of society depends.
It is a stark warning, and incredibly timely, almost prescient, given recent global events.
You mean like election interference, misinformation?
Precisely.
Yeah.
This is critical for societal resilience. Even with current AI, we've seen how it can be used for social engineering, spreading propaganda rapidly, manipulating public opinion through targeted messaging.
Deepfakes, AI bots, flooding social media.
Exactly. Advanced AI, if wielded by malicious actors or authoritarian regimes, could profoundly subvert democracy, erode trust in facts, destabilize civic processes. This principle is an urgent call to protect society's fabric from AI-driven manipulation.
So we need safeguards against AI becoming a tool for oppression.
Robust ethical guidelines, legal bans, tech safeguards, preventing AI from undermining democracy or causing societal breakdown, reminding us democracy is fragile and needs protecting, even from our own creations.
Under ethics and values, Principle 18, AI arms race. Straightforward. An arms race in lethal autonomous weapons should be avoided.
What's fascinating here is how specific and direct this warning is, even back in 2017.
The killer robots debate.
Exactly. Lethal autonomous weapon systems, law, still hotly debated internationally. Many countries, human rights groups pushing for a complete ban. This principle is a clear statement. Don't delegate the kill decision to a machine without meaningful human control. It would lead to global instability, rapid escalation, maybe lower the threshold for war, all with potentially unforeseen, catastrophic consequences given AI's speed and scale. It reflects a very concrete worry about militarizing AI, dehumanizing conflict.
One of the clearest, most agent warnings from Asilomar.
And it continues to be a central point in international diplomacy, a point where ethics and long-term risks really collide with tangible human consequences.
We've looked at the foundations for research, the present ethical challenges for operational AI. This last section, longer-term issues, really ventures into the profound longer-term implications, especially as we think about that path toward AGI and beyond.
Right. This is where they truly demonstrated foresight, pushing beyond immediate worries to think about scenarios that, for many in 2017, were still maybe science fiction. But now, they're increasingly discussed in mainstream AI development. More speculative maybe, but critically important.
Principles 19 through 21. Principle 19 is capability caution. It states, there being no consensus, we should avoid strong assumptions regarding upper limits on future AI capabilities.
This raises an important question, doesn't it? Why is intellectual humility so crucial when we think about AI's future, especially with something like AGI or superintelligence?
Because we just don't know.
We just don't know. This principle is a direct call for that humility. In 2017, and honestly even now, there's no consensus on if or when AGI will arrive or what it could ultimately do.
Some think it's impossible, others think it's imminent.
Exactly. Some argue human-level intelligence is a ceiling AI won't break. Others foresee a rapid jump to superintelligence intellect far beyond ours. This principle says, avoid strong assumptions about any upper limits.
Don't be too confident either way.
Right. It warns against both overconfidence and underestimation. If we assume AI has limits, we might fail to plan for the truly transformative, possibly risky scenarios if it doesn't. It's a direct nod to AGI potential and beyond.
It's basically saying, don't box in your thinking about what's possible because we genuinely don't know the full extent of AI's future.
Precisely. Which leads straight to Principle 20, importance. Advanced AI could represent a profound change in the history of life on Earth. and should be planned for and managed with commensurate care and resources.
Comparing AI to what? The biggest shifts in history?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, yeah, this principle elevates AI to a status like other truly transformative moments. Think the agricultural revolution reshaped everything, led to civilization,
Mhm.
or the industrial revolution altered economics, society forever. This principle suggests advanced AI isn't just another tech gadget, it's potentially a change in the fundamental trajectory of life on Earth.
That's a heavy statement.
It is, and it calls for unprecedented foresight, planning, resources, commensurate care to manage something so potentially transformative. It's a stark recognition of the monumental stakes, suggesting our approach to AI should be on par with how we tackle global climate change or nuclear disarmament. And it means our efforts to manage it need to match that scale, thinking generation ahead.
Which brings us to principle 21, risks. Risks posed by AI systems, especially catastrophic or existential risks, must be subject to planning and mitigation efforts commensurate with their expected impact.
A clear-eyed look at the potential downsides, not just hoping for the best, but rigorously planning for the worst-case scenarios.
It explicitly mentions catastrophic or existential risks. What could those be as they saw it? Maybe loss of control over superintelligent systems, AI pursuing goals in ways disastrous to us, even accidentally.
Right? Or autonomous weapons destabilizing peace.
Mm.
That too. Or societal collapse from unstoppable AI-driven misinformation campaigns. It's not just individual AI failures, it's systemic risks that could undermine civilization itself.
So the mitigation has to match the risk level.
Yes, the principle demands planning and mitigation match the potential impact. If the risk is existential, mitigation must be foundational, global, coordinated. A level of preparedness usually reserved for threats like climate change or nukes. A call to take these distant-seeming but profound risks extremely seriously now.
So we move from potential capability to potential danger on a truly global scale. The final two principles, 22 and 23, on controlling advanced AI. Principle 22 is recursive self-improvement.
The intelligence explosion idea.
AI systems designed to recursively self-improve or self-replicate in a manner that could lead to rapidly increasing quality or quantity must be subject to strict safety and control measures. What does recursive self-improvement actually mean for an AI, and why the big concern?
Recursive self-improvement means an AI can understand its own code, find its own flaws, and then autonomously rewrite and improve itself. Not just learning from data, but learning to learn better, maybe even building better versions of itself, at speeds unfathomable to humans. If that process accelerates beyond our comprehension, you could get an intelligence explosion. AI capabilities increasing exponentially, vastly outstripping human intelligence very quickly.
So how do you control that?
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
How do you implement strict safety and control measures for systems that can rapidly improve beyond human understanding? How do you contain or guide something becoming vastly smarter and more capable than you? This is maybe the ultimate control problem in AI safety. Demands robustness, alignment, currently theoretical. It emphasizes extreme care, controlled development pathways for such systems if we develop them at all, given how hard it is to ensure they stay aligned.
And then finally, principle 23, the ultimate goal, common good.
The capstone, really.
Superintelligence should only be developed in the service of widely shared ethical ideals and for the benefit of all humanity rather than one state or organization.
What's fascinating here is how this principle ties right back to the AGI focus from the very beginning. It's the overarching moral imperative for this most powerful potential technology.
If we get superintelligence,
Its immense power must not be monopolized or weaponized by any single entity, a company, a country, an individual. This principle underscores the dire need for international cooperation, robust governance, to ensure such tech serves the common good globally.
it's a statement against AI being used for domination.
Yeah, against an AI future dominated by one powerful benefactor, or worse, a hostile actor. It demands superintelligence development be guided by a truly global, human-centric vision, shared ethical ideals over narrow self-interest or competition, a call for a unified global approach to safeguard humanity's future.
It's incredible how much of what they discussed back then still resonates, driving current conversations, policy debates.
The concerns from Asilomar aren't abstract academic points, they're directly reflected in contemporary discussions, urgent calls to action from top AI researchers, policymakers, organizations worldwide.
Let's connect these principles to some of those more recent related open letters from FLI just to show that ongoing relevance.
Hmm.
One big one that made headlines: the Pause Giant AI Experiments, an open letter from March 2023.
Yes, the pause letter caused quite a stir.
It called for at least a 6-month pause on training AI systems more powerful than GPT-4, signed by thousands of AI experts, big names, researchers.
That letter connects directly back to several Asilomar principles. You can clearly see the echoes.
Like which ones?
Well, recursive self-improvement, Principle 22, by flagging the dangers of systems rapidly improving beyond control. And the general caution about risks, Principle 21, emphasizing planning for catastrophic outcomes.
So the pause was a direct attempt to apply those ideas.
It was explicitly a contemporary effort to ensure safety standards weren't sacrificed in the rush for faster, more powerful AI. It reflected widespread concern that the pace was outstripping our ability to understand and control these systems. A real-world manifestation of those Asilomar worries about an uncontrolled race. A plea to slow down, build guardrails.
Then there was the AI Licensing for a Better Future letter, October 2023, a joint effort with Encode Justice calling for concrete U.S. policies like AI licensing. Very practical.
Right, moving towards concrete policy. This initiative links straight to Asilomar's research funding, Principle 2. Specifically the part about updating legal systems for AI risks and responsibility, Principle 9, putting the onus on builders. Licensing could be a practical mechanism for accountability, ensuring developers, deployers are held responsible for safe, beneficial use. It's trying to translate those ethical principles of responsibility and risk management into actionable policy.
Like requiring audits or safety standards.
Could be. Maybe requiring audits, adherence to standards, even demonstrating value alignment before deployment. Bringing regulated responsibility to this field, like we regulate pharmaceuticals or aviation. Ensuring prosperity through AI is managed ethically.
And most recently, that open letter calling on world leaders to show long-view leadership on existential threats from February 2024. This one groups ungoverned AI right alongside climate crisis, pandemics, nuclear weapons as existential threats.
That's a hugely significant statement, elevating AI risk to that highest tier.
How does that connect?
Directly to Asilomar's importance, Principle 20, AI as a profound change in life's history and risks, calling for mitigation for existential risks. The fact that ungoverned AI is now grouped with established global existential threats by respected leaders like the elders shows how deeply the Asilomar concerns have permeated global discourse. A widespread recognition that the transformative, risky aspects of AI aren't just academic curiosities, they're urgent matters for international governance, human survival. These aren't just tech problems, they're challenges to humanity's future. These principles aren't just a historical document you put on a shelf. They feel like a living framework for responsible innovation. A constant reminder that knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and applied thoughtfully, with humanity's long-term well-being right at the center.
And that brings us really to our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given this incredible foresight in the Asilomar principles from 2017 and their continued undeniable relevance today, what responsibility do we have?
Good question.
As individuals, as users of this technology, as citizens, what's our responsibility to engage with these discussions, to understand these principles, and maybe even advocate for the beneficial development of AI? What's your role in ensuring these principles actually guide our collective future? How can you contribute to the conversation about what might be the most profound technology of our time? Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.